Good morning, this is Dr. Turner for Integrated Math 3. Today we're going to be covering 5.3, which is looking at radical expressions and rational exponents. This is a little bit of review from Integrated Math 2, so hopefully it should be a review assignment rather than a new one. But we're going to be converting expressions between radical form and rational form. So what this looks like is, most of the time, we're dealing with what are known as fractional exponents. So you're going to have some value, say x, and the exponent is going to be to the a over b. So fractional exponents are a shorthand for writing an expression that has both a root, or radical, and an exponent. And so the way to convert this is that whatever the numerator is, that is your power, so that would go here. And then whenever the denominator is, that is your power, or your root rather, so that goes here. So for something like x to the 2/3 is another way of writing the cube root of x squared. Again, whatever is in the numerator, you're going to put that inside, and whatever's in the denominator, you're going to put that outside. So the first few problems in this assignment are asking you to convert between the two forms, going from one way to the other. So if I had something like, let's say, x to the 2/5, and I asked you to write it in the other form. And it'll say write it in expanded form or write it as a fractional exponent in the assignment. The 5, again, goes on the outside, and the 2 goes on the inside. If I have something like x to the 7/4, 7's the numerator, so that goes on the inside. 4 is the denominator, so that goes on the outside. It's going to be the same idea going the other way. So if I started out with, let's say, cube root of x to the 4th power, and I ask you to write that as a fractional exponent, and whatever number's on the inside is my numerator, whatever numbers on the outside is the denominator. If I have, let's say, 4th root of x to the 7th power. The 7's on the inside, so that's going to be my numerator. 4's on the outside, so that's my denominator. So half of your assignment is just doing that, being able to switch between the two forms. Then as you scroll down, as you get into the later problems, you're asked to evaluate expressions involving this procedure. So, for instance, let's say I have something like 4 to the 5/2. Once you understand fractional exponents, you could just leave it as is, but if it's still sort of confusing, you could rewrite it as square root of 4 to the 5th power. When you are evaluating these expressions, you can do the root or you can do the power first. So I could do 4 to the 5th power and then take the square root, or I could take the square root of 4 and then write it to the 5th power. Sometimes one's going to be easier than the other. So for instance here, if I do the square root of 4, you don't have to write that 2, but just because we have the fractional exponent. Square root of 4, I know, is 2, and then 2 to the 5th power is 32. Again, you could evaluate it the other way. If you wanted to do 4 to the 5th power first, that's fine, but then you're having to do 4 to the 5th power. So even if we did that, we're going to get 1,024, and that's not something I would expect most of you to know off the top of your head. Of course, you could use a calculator. Either way, you do end up with 32. So it's whichever way you think is easier. If you're using a calculator anyways, that it's going to, of course, give you the answer. Remember that when you're typing in with your calculator, to use that caret key, and then because we have a fractional exponent, you would need to put the 5/2 in parentheses. So any of those three ways are going to give you the same answer. Let's look at another one. Let's do, cube root of 216 squared. So again, it's whichever way you want to do it, whichever way is easier. 216 I know is a common cube root, so I would do the cube root of 216 first and then square it. Cube root of 216 is 6, and then 6 squared is 36, like so. So it can be written as a fractional exponent, or it can be written out in the expanded form, but that's essentially your assignment. You're asked to evaluate the expressions, or like we did in 1 through 4, convert between the two forms. That's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or attend office hours. Otherwise, have a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.